Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be sharing a grand experiment with you. I have decided to dip my toe into the journal making pool, and I'm going to make 2 journals, and I'm going to share the process and the learning curve of making my first journals for sale. I'm going to be putting them in my Etsy shop. And I had no idea what a first experience like this entailed, but I thought, well, I'll just take it from way back and do it one step at a time. And I thought you might be interested in me sharing my process. First thing I had to do was decide what size I wanted to do for my first foray into making journals. So I went to the one that I find most handy, and I took out this one, and I decided that I would use this as the template for size for my journal. So that decision was made, although I imagine that I might go a little bit larger in the future if things work out well. So that was the first decision, taking measurements. And I'm a great old-fashioned girl for tracing paper, and I decided that it would be 8 7/8 inches top to bottom, and 8 1/2 across, which of course gives the usual 4 1/4 size for the individual pages. So that done, I thought, well, now the cover. What can I do to make my first journal a carol journal? And I had a brainwave. I went up to the top shelf and I took down these practice papers that I had been working on, and I've done videos on this, and I said, well, wouldn't these make pretty journal covers? Many of you have asked when I was doing this, what was I going to do with them? Well, I didn't have any idea until the brainwave. So then I had to think a little bit more deeply about how I was going to handle this. And of course, I went to the experts. And when Artie Mays said that she prefers to use Mod Podge on paper because of the effect it gives, I thought, let's not fix what Artie Mays has figured out. So I made a little experiment. As you can see, I cut off a little piece of this one, and this one was mixed, was matte medium, Liquitex matte medium, and this one is Mod Podge. 2 coats each. No. 2 coats each, yes. Well, I let them dry thoroughly, and then I had a good look, and she was right. Something happens to the paper. She said that it almost became like fabric or leather. And when you feel these 2 pieces of paper, there is a distinct difference in the feeling and the look. This is a little tiny bit shinier than this one. So I voted. Now, I've never been a Mod Podge girl because I guess I've always used matte medium and so forth. But I went and hit Walmart, and that was the second decision. First was size, then the grand experiment. I used the back of my tracing paper pad to make myself a template. And I have to admit, this was not easy to cut, so I handed that off to my husband so that it would be cut fairly straight. Therefore, I slathered on my 2 coats in the area that I thought I was going to use. This part, and I do wish you could see, there is definitely, let's see if I can get a little closer and get it under the light properly. There is a difference in this side of the paper, even the way it feels. And I painted on the Mod Podge up to about here. And definitely a difference. So, Mod Podge was the next experiment. That worked a treat. Let me put this back over on the other table. So today, I've decided to give this a dry run because many times I have been willing to put my head in the noose for all the world to see, but on this one I thought, I'm going to be using some different things, and let me get a little start to get the feel of this. So, since I have 2 of them, I'll work on one, but let me show you what I have done on the other journal. I decided to use one of these, and that one in itself was a learning experience. So, this is what I ended up with. Let me explain. I cut out using the template, and then I decided that this really had to have a pretty lining, so I chose pink for this, just a nice piece of cards of stock, and I thought about how to make these 2 become one. So what I decided to do was, again, listening to my teachers and the people I've learned from over the years, I used some of the Liquitex matte medium, and I slathered a good coat onto the back of the painted one, and quickly put a good coat onto this one, and put them down together. I used good old-fashioned wax paper to help me there. And I flipped it under here so that it might absorb any moisture. And I have a humongous dictionary that went on top to make sure that they would stick as much as I was able to make them stick together. And so, here I am. I'm going to be stitching these together, and then I thought while this was drying I might look around and find some papers that I might want to use inside of the journal. And this journal is going to have some of these papers in it. I'm going to include some of my painty papers, but I'm probably not going to sew them in. You can, oh, and by the way, when I sew them in, it will be in such a way that you can take the book apart and add to it if you would like. But I thought I would include this painty paper with the glimmer mist, a piece of green on one side, iridescent green and iridescent pink on another. I just thought that there was something you might want to do. Here are the some of the 2 leftover pieces from this. I'm including them. They will be included in with the journal. 2 of the liner paper pieces. I thought you might want those. And 1 of the pages for this is going to be this pretty white-backed paper, and I thought, okay, let's have those. Let me send you these, or whomever might or might not purchase will get that. So, okay, this was my first choice of a piece of paper for this journal, and I thought it might be a nice inclusion. So that's one piece, and then Now I haven't cut all of these naturally. This is a piece of typing paper for resumes, and it is 100. It is Hallmark. It is watermarked, and it is 100% cotton. And I did try some watercolor on it, and it's absolutely takes watercolor beautifully. So that's going to be another page. And then I went into a color book of pretty flowers, and I thought, my, wouldn't this be a nice addition in the journal? And then I found this piece of painty paper that I have done recently, and I thought this might look rather nice in there. And then I had taken a journal apart, and I decided, well, why don't I include this as a page in the journal? And here is a nice page of white cardstock. And I was debating and debating, and I thought, yes, I'm going to do it. This is a piece of Canson cold press 140-pound watercolor paper, and I thought you might enjoy having a piece of watercolor paper in your journal. So these are the pages that I'm going to be including. I don't know what I'm going to do on them, if anything, but knowing me, I might do some embellishing, but I'm not going, since it is going to be the purchaser's journal, I don't want to intrude. But then I thought to myself, something else might be nice. And I'm going to go and rummage up on the top shelf, and I will be back. So I have decided that what I will do is include, also I thought it might be fun in the packet to include one of my watercolor posies. So this is going to be one journal, and let me introduce you to the other one. Goodness, telephones. So this is going to be the cover for the other journal. Again, it has been Mod Podged on this side, in this area, and this is going to be the area of the cover. That will be the front, and that the back of the cover. And I will be cutting that out as my next step. But I decided to use this as the lining of the cover, and this as one of the pages that will be in the journal. And here is the posy. Here are the leftover bits from the cutting. Here is an envelope that you might or might want to include or use in however way you might want. Some more of my painty paper that you can add or not to the journal. And again, the 100% cotton paper, a color book page that I think goes so nicely with the design on the cover, a piece of my painty paper, the ledger, the white cardstock, and the Canson watercolor paper. So now I'm going to get ready to do the next steps, the first of which will be to cut out the piece of, to cut out the cover. I'm thinking going to come over a little bit more than I had planned. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Alrighty. Now let's see. Yes. Okay. Yes. Remove my waxed paper. I hope that I do well on the first go round with this. Let's see if it went through. Nope. Sometimes it just doesn't like me. There it is. Whew. And yes. Well, after 6 cuts on just this, I should be improving, shouldn't I? I think I might stand up. Maybe a little leverage might help too. Oh, really, Carol? It's a good thing. Leverage is a good thing. Whoops, let's go up here a little bit more. Yes, yes. Oh. Please believe me when I say that the first round of this was not like this. So, I will be cutting off these bits to include them. You might find something to do with them. And here we go. That's the back. Okay. That's the back. Now. Ah, yes. Now, this is not 100%, because after all, this is not machine made. There is no reason that a little bit of fine tuning with cutting can't be done, particularly at the end when I want to make sure that the papers line up. So, here we go now. That was the first learning experience. Let me get everything else here out of the way, because this has to be kind of fast. Now, almost but trimmable. Okay, so this has to be ready. I'll put that over here. It's going to go over like this. Yes, it is. And here we go. Get the matte medium down on here. Particularly interested in getting plenty of it on the edges. That's why the waxed paper. Because I want to be speedy but thorough here. So we have paper, we have brown craft paper, we have many layers of acrylic paint on the front and 2 layers of Mod Podge. Okay. And here. And edge the edge. A little bit messy, but I don't want to take any chances with this not holding. Okay, here and there. Yes. Yes. And some more. I prefer to use my hands for this bit because I can feel where I've been, and for some reason, I guess I'm just a tactile person, but now I'm going to move that onto an absorbent piece. Fold it over. That's what I did on the other one, and it worked. And a heavy dictionary. Okay. There. Done. So, this must dry, and while that is happening, I'll trim off these bits, and then I'll probably stop and come back to this tomorrow when they've all had a good opportunity to dry. So, I will return and playtime will begin. Good morning. As you can see, last night I did some of the more boring stuff. I matched my papers and cut them to fit the journal. And I knew that this was not something that you needed to see me do because you've seen it many times from many different people. So, today I'm going to do my sewing, and I decided to add some pure silk ribbon that I use for my stitchery here. And I'm going to put, even though I'm only doing a very small stitch, I decided to put a good deal, 3 lengths for each color, so that there will probably be a lot. I'm going to leave these ribbons on the outside, and there will probably be enough that you could very well, if you didn't like the finish or you wanted to make some changes in your journal, it would be easy to simply untie it and rework it. So, okay, that's 2. And last but not least, I have quite a collection of colors that I've developed over the years of stitchery. So, I thought I would share some of the plunder here. All right, mission accomplished. Now I'm going to use this. This needle should work a treat. And let's begin. Oh, this one's got a double eye. How interesting. It's incredible the things you can accumulate over 40 or more years of stitching. But I think this will fit nicely into the holes because the holes took some banging on to get it through, because there's a lot of paper there, particularly that cover. Acrylic paint adds up. There we go. So, whoops. First one can be tricky business, but I know that they worked because I could see light through the holes last night. So I'm just going to cheat put them through one at a time. There. And there. Good. And there. There we go. Mission. Now I'm going to make sure that I hold out. And up to the top. There we go. I will remember to put a clip at the other end of the second journal. Live and learn again. Well, when all else fails, one at a time it is. Here we go. And one more. And another. And this one, and last but not least, thinking that I'm going to want to pull this one through a little bit more. And a little bit more here. And back down through this one. No, I'm not happy with that. It's not tight enough. There it is. This on the other side. Yes. And these two tails are at, whoops, okay, I want to even that out just a little bit more. Let me go this way. And very done. this, as you can see, needs just this one light pink one needs to be pulled, and then I'm going to tie it off in a bow. There it is. I'm going to tie it off in a bow so that you can untie it, and silk ribbon will untie. It will be loose, and so it will be gettable. You will be able to there we go. One mission accomplished. So, I'm not going to expect you to watch that again. I'm going to do this one, and when I get it at this point, I will return, and then I'm going to open the book and we'll decide whether or not anything else is necessary or not. Well, of course, that one had to decide to act like a hot knife through butter. So, here we have my grand experiment, my 2 original journals. Now let's look and see. They are both have the same papers in them with different colorways, and the papers are in the same order. So we have the cover, a matching paper, a piece of cardstock, next the color book, the 100% cotton resume paper, the ledger page, a piece of Canson watercolor paper, and my painty paper in the center. So, for all intents and purposes, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 14. We have 28 sides. And in this one, we have the first page, the cardstock, color book, resume paper, the ledger, a piece of watercolor paper, and my painty paper. So, now the big question is, does this need anything else other than a signature of mine in the back? And I'm thinking not. I'm thinking that this is an adventure for you. So, clear off here a bit. And the sleeve that goes with this journal contains a posy, some of the painted paper that was left over, some of my glimmer misted painty paper, and bits left from all of the pages from the journal. Well, I'm glad I checked. This paper is missing. I will retrieve it. I'll be right back. Well, that's better. So, that will be in the sleeve. If you have enjoyed watching me produce these 2 journals, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share with a friend, and I would appreciate you subscribing to my channel. If you are interested in purchasing these journals, you will find my email address below the video, and you can also convo me on Etsy, and the name of my shop, and that's also below, is all one word, Carol Martine Art. And if you do that, I will, when I put them on Etsy, I will reserve them for you. So, thank you for sharing this new adventure. Bye now.